So we just got the trailer for The Frontrunner, and it seems to tell a really interesting, timely, and political story.
So start with the shoulder in a little. My name's Gary Hart, and I'm running for president.
So who directed it? Oliver Stone, maybe? No, it's actually Jason Reitman. No, yeah, that Jason Reitman, like Juno and Up in the Air, that guy. But wait, whatever happened to Jason Reitman? He established himself as a rising talent with his directorial debut, Thank You for Smoking, which, not unlike The Frontrunner, explores political themes and the power of hypocrisy. The film debuted to a highly positive reception, with critics praising the performances of its cast, as well as Reitman's screenplay and direction, earning the film 2 Golden Globe nods for Best Picture and Best Actor for Aaron Eckhart. Reitman's next 2 films, Juno and Up in the Air, brought him to the next level as an Oscar-worthy talent, receiving Best Director nominations for both films and making him one of the youngest nominees in that category ever. Critics praised Juno for putting a smart, fresh, and innovative take on the classic coming-of-age story, and Up in the Air for its funny, frank take on the human condition in the 21st century. So by this point, Reitman was making beloved movies that spoke to audiences and critics alike, relaying universally relatable truths that were disguised with acerbic and witty comedy. So what happened?
You will never understand that.
Reitman reunited with Juno screenwriter Diablo Cody for Young Adult, which, while well received, didn't make the same kind of splash with Oscar voters that his previous films had. Was it the doubling down of the dark, cynical streak that had appeared in his previous films that left a bad taste in their mouths? Was it the film's smaller stakes that just didn't appeal to the voters' sense of bombast and spectacle? Either way, besides a handful of Critics Guild Awards and nominations, including a Golden Globe nod for Charlize Theron's lead performance, Young Adult came and went from theaters, barely making back its $12 million budget.
Sometimes, in order to heal, a few people have to get hurt.
Things only went downhill from there. Reitman's next 2 films, Labor Day and Men, Women, and Children, flopped spectacularly, with both films tanking at the box office and taking a beating from critics. Labor Day sits at 35% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Men, Women, and Children fares even worse at 31%. Labor Day was dismissed by critics for being boring, blatant Oscar bait, too earnest and saccharine for its own good. Meanwhile, Men, Women, and Children was lambasted for its bizarre preachiness. David Sims of The Atlantic described the film as Reitman taking himself too seriously, losing sight of the vivid humanity that had defined his earlier work. So what went wrong here? Sims points out that, in trying to leave his comfort zone for Labor Day, bit off way more than he could chew. He notes that in Up in the Air, Reitman had a point to make, he had something to say, whereas in Men, Women, and Children, Reitman fails to ground the film in anything remotely relatable. Reitman took some time to recoup his losses, returning to a sense of familiarity with his next project, 2018's Tully, bringing back Diablo Cody and the ever-reliable Charlize Theron. By telling an intimate story about motherhood that reflects modern anxieties way more truly than Men, Women, and Children ever could, Tully represents something of a return to form for Reitman, so this raises hopes for his second project of 2018. The Frontrunner looks to be Oscar bait, in the best possible way that I can mean that. As mentioned earlier, it boasts a shocking true-life story and an A-list cast, including Academy Award nominee Hugh Jackman and previous winner / frequent Reitman collaborator J.K. Simmons to bring it to life. Reitman seems primed to be back in Oscar's good graces, but is he really poised for a big Oscars comeback? My immediate response would have to be probably not. The Oscar race as it stands is already way too crowded for a smaller film like The Frontrunner to really make a dent. Most critics on Gold Derby don't see The Frontrunner actually being a frontrunner for one of Oscar's top 10 slots, with films like Roma, BlacKkKlansman, and A Star is Born more positioned for success. In fact, the best chance the film stands to get nominated is Hugh Jackman's clearly committed performance as Gary Hart, a disgraced Democratic presidential candidate.
This campaign is about the future, not rumors, not sleaze, and I care about the sanctity of this process, whether you do or do not!
However, woe is not Jason Reitman. The Frontrunner might just be too small of a film to really break into the Oscars race this year in a major way. But if it's a resounding critical success and Jackman does get that nomination, then it paves the way for Reitman to make that triumphant return and one day get that Oscar gold. So maybe not this time, but probably next time. So what do you think? Will Jason Reitman find himself back in the Oscar race this year? Let us know in the comments below.